Lynlee, why are you here today?
I'm being accused of murdering my husband, Ben.
Did you kill Ben?
I did not.
Did you help Michael Humphrey kill Ben?
I did not.
Did you ever want Ben dead?
I never wanted Ben dead.
All right. Before we get into the specifics of what happened, I want to go over a little bit of your background so this jury can get to know you as a person. All right. So can you tell the jury just a little bit about where you're from and your family?
I grew up in Montgomery County, in between the towns of Wellsville and Middletown, just two really small towns. I grew up with my dad, Lyndall, my mom, Brenda, and then I have an older sister named April. Yeah.
Do you have any children, Lynlee?
I do. I have three children. Matthew, who's 13, Emilia is 9, and then Jackson is 2.
And you said you grew up between Wellsville and Middletown. Where did you graduate from high school?
Wellsville Middletown High School.
Okay. What was high school like for you?
It was rough. I mean, it was fun. I was a cheerleader. I was an All-American cheerleader one year, and so you get to go to like Florida and perform at the halftime.
Excuse me, Judge, I'm gonna object.
I'm sorry.
Her cheerleading is irrelevant to the proceeding.
Objection be overruled. Go ahead.
You can continue, Lynlee.
So you get to go to Florida and perform at like a halftime show of one of the football games, and cheerleading was kind of what kept me engaged in high school, because outside of that, it was very rough. I was struggling with migraines, eating disorders, and then just circumstantial depression pretty heavily. And I ended up graduating high school. My mom, who was a nurse, she was also a social worker, and she ended up setting me up on a 504 plan my senior year of high school, which basically means that I got to finish my senior year by just completing the 2 credits that I needed. And I was able to go in after hours when nobody else was there and just meet with those 2 teachers that I needed to for those credits to graduate.
When was the very first time that you met Ben Renick?
So the first time Ben and I met was actually when we were in high school. My boyfriend at the time was in a band with Ben. Ben was a drummer, and so we would go over to Ben's house, and they would do band practices and stuff, and then we went over a couple of times to go swimming and just little hangouts like that.
But you and Ben weren't dating at that time?
No.
All right. Can you tell the jury briefly what you did once you graduated high school?
So 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I started school for massage therapy. I moved to Jefferson City, and my sister and I had a small apartment together, and I started classes for massage therapy.
And that would have been, correct me if I'm wrong, but the summer of 2006?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about the first time that summer that you met Michael Humphrey?
So since I started massage classes like 2 weeks after I graduated high school, which was, May, kind of beginning of June, beginning of summer, I went for a couple weeks of massage classes, and then they did a short summer break. And my sister and her boyfriend at the time, they always organized this really big float trip with their company, and so they invited me to go with them, and that's where I met Michael Humphrey for the first time.
But he was just an acquaintance at that point. You guys didn't
Yeah.
start dating or anything?
Yeah.
All right. Were you dating anyone around the end of 2006, beginning of 2007?
2006. Yes, so I had met Josh Hake, who is my oldest son's father, and we had kind of started talking and, casually dating around that time.
Did you eventually graduate from massage therapy school?
I did.
And that was March of 2007?
Yeah, the day after I turned 19. So.
Did something else happen the day after you graduated? Oh, I'm sorry. Did something happen the day before you took your boards?
Oh, So I found out that I was pregnant the day before I was supposed to sit and take my massage boards. So you go through the classes, but you come out with a provisional license so I could shortly practice massage, but you still have to sit for state boards to get licensed. And yeah, the night before I was set to take those, I found out I was pregnant. So.
Well, I didn't hear that last part. What'd you say?
The night before I was set to take my massage boards, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
How did you feel when you found out you were pregnant?
Terrified, and I mean, I was just sitting there studying for my exams, and I was just like, I mean, it was unexpected and unplanned. I was excited, but it was just a lot to take in the middle of the night.
How did Josh react, the father, when he found out?
He was excited. So he lived in St. Louis at the time, and when I called to let him know, he was leaving the gym from training, and he backed into a light pole.
Now, did Josh end up staying in your and Matthew's life?
In the beginning, yes, but no.
All right.
Ultimately, no.
Can you tell the jury very briefly what happened?
Memorial weekend, I guess it would have been a couple of months after I found out I was pregnant. Josh went down to Lake of the Ozarks, and he was hanging out with friends and stuff there. I had morning sickness so badly, and so I was staying with my sister and dad. They were packing up some stuff, but he ended up getting into a pretty serious car incident, and some other people in the other car were really badly injured, and so he was in the hospital after that, and then he was in jail, and ultimately ended up going to prison. I don't know what the charges or anything were, but he was in prison for quite a long time.
Did you really have no contact with him after he was charged?
No.
Okay. When did you give birth to Matthew?
January 3rd, 2008.
And who was there with you?
My mom and my sister. My dad was there too, but my mom and my sister helped deliver Matthew, so.
All right, so in 2008, you have Matthew and you're working as a massage therapist, correct?
I was not working as a massage therapist, so when I went to take my licensing exams that next day, I missed it by like 2 points. And in the beginning of finding out that I was pregnant, when, before Josh's accident, he really wanted me to move to St. Louis, not work, and just kind of be a stay-at-home mom. I was having a lot of problems with that, but since I hadn't passed my state licensing exam, I had to wait and reapply for my provisional license. Ultimately, I just ended up not doing that.
Let me rephrase my question, I guess. At some point, did you begin working as a massage therapist
Yes.
again? All right, and when was that?
So I stayed home with Matthew until he was 10 months old, and then I restudied for my exams, took my exams, passed, and then went back to work, or started working, I guess, as a massage therapist.
Where were you working?
I worked at a place called Natural Connections. It's just outside of Jefferson City. It's a wellness center and spa.
Did you enjoy working as a massage therapist?
I did.
What did you like about it?
There at that job, the two people who owned it had been in massage therapy and health and wellness their whole lives, and I learned so much from them just about total body wellness and in so many different aspects, and just seeing so many people come in, whether it was from physical injury or stress, and then knowing that they felt better when they left, and you can visibly see that, and how grateful people are to just that you're part of their journey to being healthy and finding that place of comfort for them. It's incredibly rewarding.
Now, at some point, did Michael Humphrey re-enter your life?
Yes. So I got my license, and I started working. And since I was working outside of Jefferson City, Matthew and I moved to Jefferson City. I got an apartment there, and Michael had kind of sent me a couple messages here and there about congratulations on Matthew, and I believe he had seen some pictures of him just through close acquaintances sharing, and so he's like, he looks beautiful kind of thing. And then we kind of reconnected and started dating after I moved to Jefferson City.
And would that have been around 2009, 2010?
Probably 2009, probably.
How long did you two date?
On and off for maybe about a year. Probably maybe less than that, but it was really on and off. So,
Would you characterize your relationship with Michael Humphrey as a healthy relationship?
no.
All right. What was the main problem in that relationship?
Drug addiction.
On whose part?
Both.
Had you been addicted? What, I guess I should say, did you use drugs?
I did. So I became incredibly addicted to prescription pain pills, and for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and our relationship it was always just very toxic, but that definitely didn't make it any better. He was also taking and just on the side selling prescription painkillers, it was just a very codependent relationship.
Did you eventually leave that toxic relationship?
I did.
Tell the jury about how that happened.
At that time, I guess just like to kind of career track it, I was working at Natural Connections. They were really financially struggling, and so still working at Natural Connections, but I also had a job in Fulton as a massage therapist. I was actually helping the massage instructor that I had at a spa that she had opened there. That business didn't pan out for them, and so then I applied at River Song Salon and Spa in Columbia. And I left both of those jobs, and I started working in Columbia at River Song to have more of a stable foundation, because you can't really support yourself when your paychecks are bouncing. And so I was working in Columbia, and I just remember getting maybe 3 or 4 hours into the day, and I'm in the middle of a massage, and I just kind of came to it and realized I had no recollection of dropping Matthew off at daycare or driving to work or what had happened the beginning part of the day, and it scared me to death that something could have happened to him. And so when I got done with work, I called my daddy and let him know that, kind of what was going on, and that we needed to come and stay with him. And so I went back and I grabbed as much stuff as I could just for Matthew and I picked him up from daycare, and we moved in with my dad. And then my dad later went down and helped me get the rest of my stuff.
Because you had been living with Michael Humphrey, correct?
Yes.
And so that very day, you moved out.
Yeah.
And did you eventually become sober from painkillers?
Yeah, I just quit. It was a very rough weekend, but I was done.
All right. So after you left Michael Humphrey, is this about 2010 or 2011?
It would have been maybe maybe the beginning of fall in 2010.
All right, so you and Matthew are living with your dad in Columbia, right?
Yes.
You're still working at River Song Spa?
Yes.
Raising Matthew?
Yes.
At some point, do you reconnect with Ben Renick?
Yes.
Tell the jury briefly how that happened.
There was a Facebook at that time. They did the huge question lists, and you would answer the questions and then post it on your timeline, and all of your friends would respond to those. And so Ben had responded to one of those and sent me a message.
Did you and Ben kind of hit it off?
We did. We just kind of started, catching up, talking about, hey, how have you been? It's not like we really knew each other that well from high school, and so we were just kind of catching up on where we were in life.
And you liked Ben, right?
Yeah.
What did you like about him?
There was such a huge difference between the relationship that I had just left with Michael and Ben and his personality, and when I first met Ben and when I first went over to, we watched a movie and hung out together, and Ben just treated me differently, and he was respectful and, kind and compassionate. I had a very kind of healthy relationship with my body and sex, and I didn't feel any of that from Ben in the beginning. So that was nice to just have somebody that I had so much in common with that I could talk to, and it was just very easy for us to be around each other.
What did you guys have in common?
We both like weird movies and horror movies, and we both liked the same music, had the same taste in music. Yeah. Books and we were both, really big into reading, just kind of general things like that.
How was Ben with Matthew when you guys first started dating?
It was amazing. That was one of the things I think that made me truly fall in love with him.
I think you've told me in the past about the first time that you and Matthew spent the night at Ben's house.
Yeah. So my friend Brittany and I had been talking about just moving to St. Louis and kind of getting a fresh start for the both of us. And, Ben and I were talking and everything at this time. And he had made a couple comments about oh, just move in with me. And it was just well, it's not just me that you're getting. I have a son, and he had met Matthew, but we had never been, I had never brought Matthew over to his house. And so, we decided that maybe we'll try a sleepover and see how this goes, you actually being around, a child full time. And so Maddie and I came down and we spent the evening, had dinner together. And then at bedtime, I told Ben, I was well, this is my bedtime routine with Matthew. And Ben had set up his spare bedroom and made up a bed so that Matthew could, have his own room in his bed like he was used to. And so I told him, I was well, we're gonna go do bedtime routine, and then I'll come out, whenever he's asleep and we're done. And he just followed me in there and made himself a part of it. And he sat on the other side of Matthew while we were reading his story. And when I snuggled up with Maddie to rub his back before bedtime, Ben just sat on the floor and laid his head next to him while we did bedtime and just kind of fully embraced that.
And that was really important to you.
Yes.
Tell the jury a little bit about Ben's personality.
How do you mean?
What made Ben happy? What was he focused on? What did he think about?
Renick reptiles. So Ben was incredibly career driven, which was also just really impressive to me. Ben was able to prioritize things in a way that I was incapable of, because he was very analytical, just logical about everything, and he had such a way of seeing the world as what mattered and what needed his energy or his attention and what didn't. And he had such clear, defined boundaries on all of that, and it was just amazing.
Would you say Ben was an extroverted person who had to be around people all the time, or was he more introverted?
Ben he could socialize, and a part of our job with Renick Reptiles was going out and being at these reptile shows and around people. But just in general, Ben really didn't care or he didn't have interest in learning, about other people and truly connecting with them, getting to know who they are, where they come from. To him, everything was kind of a business transaction.
Can you tell the jury very briefly about Ben's family?
So Ben's father and mother, his dad's name is Frank, and then his mom's name is Kim. And at the time that Ben and I had started dating, his mom had already passed away. She died from cancer. But I had met her when we were in high school, and then he has an older brother named Sam, and then he had, I believe, 2 half siblings, but they weren't really a part of Ben's life, and I never met them.
Now, Ben's dad, Frank, he had owned a business, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we've heard referenced to as, Frank's trust, or how was the family finances set up?
So when Ben and I started dating, Ben, he had, was breeding reptiles, but that was pretty small scale, and then he was also working for his dad. His dad owned a pet treat company. All I know about that is just things that I've heard that came after his dad's passing, but he owned a pet treat company. Ben and Sam both kind of helped out with that. And I'm sorry, what was your question about the finances?
I guess,
We need a
you
quick
know,
break here. When we come
Frank
back,
eventually
more
started trying-
testimony, direct. Lynlee Renick on the stand. Be right back. Welcome back to Court TV Live. A big, busy day here at Court TV. Later today, opening statements in the Kim Potter trial in Minneapolis we'll have for you. But right now, we want to get back to Missouri. Lynlee Renick on the stand. She's talking about working with her husband at the snake farm. Haven't gotten to the day of the murder yet. Let's listen.
There were a lot of different kind of media and relation points in terms of like selling forums and stuff like that. And so anytime anybody wanted an article from Ben or a response from Ben, then I would take care of those. I also at that time, just to take it off of Ben's plate, started making sure that all of the paperwork and stuff was filled out, confirmations for the reptile shows that we were doing, made sure they had all of the information that they needed, made sure we had our hotels booked and we were where we needed to be. And I started doing kind of I didn't do like the ordering and inventory, but I would do price checking for Ben and try to shop around to make sure we were getting the best deal that we could on things.
And you mentioned reptile shows. Can you tell the jury very briefly what reptile shows are?
Reptile shows are where you travel to a huge convention center and you're in a big hall. It would be like, I don't know, maybe like comparable to like a craft fair for reptiles, and you have hundreds of vendors depending on the show, hundreds or thousands of vendors that are all set up in lines, and everybody has their display tables that they pay for, and you put your snakes in these little light up displays and put them on show, and then people walk through and they have the opportunity to look at what you have and purchase from you.
And so you were kind of responsible for booking these shows and then kind of interacting with the public at those shows.
Yes.
All right. Safe to say Ben was more focused on the snakes.
Yes, and I mean, you're right there behind the table for everybody to see. So of course, you know, Ben was still interacting with people, but Ben had, you know, he had been in this for so long that there were a lot of other breeders and some of his larger sellers, wholesalers, and so Ben was focused on those people, the people that were, you know, had larger sales with him or that he had already built a business relationship with, and making sure that he stayed in contact with them. And I took care of just kind of general public people that were walking through and, you know, maybe just wanted to ask questions or hold something, but you knew necessarily weren't going to buy something.
All right. Now, you and Ben sound very busy. Sounds like this was a lot of work.
Yes.
And you now have not just Matthew, but a young daughter, right?
Yes.
Did you guys have any systems in place to kind of keep your relationship going strong?
I mean, our relationship really just was kind of Renick reptiles. I mean, we would wake up, I would get the kids ready, take them to daycare or school, wherever they needed to be, come back. We would work together all day. I mean, you know, we would take lunch breaks together. We would work throughout the day, then I would go pick the kids up, come back, we would do dinner and, you know, bedtime and kind of cool down with the kids, and then we would go back to work and work really as long as both of us could stand it to get everything done, and then just go back to bed, and that was our life.
At some point, did you guys decide to do weekly date nights?
Yeah, fairly early on, actually, right after we had Amelia, we decided that it would just be good for us to have a time to kind of step away, just have the time to ourselves, to each other, and kind of check out from everything else.
All right.
And I guess I didn't answer it. So when Emma was 6 months old, we started doing that.
Okay, so when Emma was 6 months, you guys started doing weekly date nights.
Yes.
Now, at some point, did you and Ben take out life insurance policies?
So after Ben's dad had passed away, there was a lot going on with that, a lot of back and forth that Ben had to go up and meet with different people. And again, meeting with Chuck, one of the things that they did is they decided that Ben and Sam, but I don't really know how his was set up, but that Ben needed to make sure that he had, a will and trust and life insurance set up just the same way that Frank did. And so from Ben's side, he didn't really want to waste the money on attorneys getting the, documents drawn up. It would take away from Renick Reptiles to have to drive up there every time that something needed to be done or changed. And so he just kind of left it as like, set it up however my dad's is set up, that's fine.
So so is it fair to say that after his dad's death, that kind of shocked Ben into action, and he and Chuck decided, he needs to have his affairs settled, right?
Yeah.
Did Ben ever get a will?
No.
All right, but did Ben have a trust?
Yes.
And was that trust set up the same way his dad's was?
Yes.
So under the terms of that trust, if something happened to Ben, everything in the trust, money, property, assets, that would go to who?
To Amelia. I mean, Ben literally he didn't want to deal with going up there, so just however Frank had it set up, like that's how Ben's was.
Now, do you know if Frank, Ben's dad, ever had a life insurance policy?
Yes.
And was that life insurance policy placed into Frank's trust?
Yes.
Now, did anyone advise you and Ben to take out life insurance policies?
Yes.
And who advised you to?
Chuck, I mean, he kind of took care of everything, but everybody that was helping with it thought that it was a good idea.
Okay, so did you and Ben both get life insurance policies?
No.
It was just Ben?
It was just Ben. My health was so bad that we thought that the premiums and payments would be more than necessary, that we could actually justify paying it.
Very briefly, can you tell the jury about some of the health problems you were and are experiencing?
So migraines have kind of been something. I was diagnosed with chronic migraines when I was 13. And then I had to have my gallbladder taken out shortly after Matthew was born. From that, and also I think complications just from having an eating disorder and struggling with that for so long. I have a lot of digestive and bowel problems, gastrointestinal problems. I was in and out of the hospital quite a lot when, Ben and I were together through our relationship and our marriage. I ended up having to, one of my bile ducts was closing off from scar tissue, and so bile was essentially, when that would happen, just backing up into my body. And I was hospitalized for that, ended up needing surgery, and then I also, my dad has a bleeding disorder. At that time, we knew that I was a carrier of it, and so that was kind of all the information that was out at that time. New research and stuff has come out to show that women actually can exhibit symptoms of that, which makes a lot of sense because when I had this surgery, I had a lot of problems with bleeding. I actually ended up needing to be transferred because I was bleeding so badly and they couldn't get it to stop. I ended up needing 2 whole units of blood and a couple of units of plasma, and they had to redo the surgery.
Okay, so yeah, it would have been way too costly to get a life insurance policy on you.
Yes.
All right, but Ben took out one, right?
Yes.
And who was the beneficiary?
Myself and the children.
Okay.
Myself and Amelia, I think initially, because Ben and I weren't married, and so Matthew wasn't, legally adopted. And then I think after Ben and I got married, then he added Matthew, because, we had talked about him legally adopting Matthew.
Okay. So Ben lost his father, I think, in June of 2012.
Yes.
And you also lost your mother that year, didn't you?
Yes.
How was that experience?
It was a really hard year. It was an incredibly happy year. That was the year that Amelia was born. And then it was just rocked by Ben's father's death and then my mother's death.
Now, one of the things I think you told this jury you admired about Ben in the beginning of your relationship was how driven and career-oriented he was, right?
Yes.
As your relationship went on, did that same characteristic start to cause problems in the relationship?
It did.
Can you describe those problems?
In the beginning, what I saw as somebody who was really able to just set up boundaries and, discern what was important and keep himself on track, it became very apparent that Ben just really had no value for other people outside of what they could offer him personally or financially in terms of help with Renick reptiles or, building that wealth.
And you were working for him full time, right?
Yes.
Did you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is it fair to say that at some point you felt he was treating you more as an employee than a spouse or a partner?
Yes.
Would he make any comments about money situations or the power imbalance between you two?
Yes. So Ben and I, had been working together at Renick Reptiles for about 3 years. And we had grown so exponentially. We got to the point to where neither one of us could really take on any more than what we already had. We wouldn't be able to keep the animals healthy if we kept growing and we didn't have any more help. And so I told Ben that we needed to hire somebody else to help us, that either they could help me clean babies and take some of that off my plate so I could help him, or he needed to hire somebody who could more specifically help him just maybe going through and cleaning adults so he had more of an opportunity to, put stuff out there for sale. And Ben didn't want to do that. He said that even if he did have somebody else to come in and help us, he would still have to go over and double check what they did, that it would just be meaningless, it would waste his work. And it kind of became this revolving door of him telling me that I didn't understand the pressure since he was the only one making money. And my reply to that was, I can go back to work, I'll get another job. I started, at that time I had been working with Ben for so long that my massage license had lapsed. And so I put in applications, just kind of went on Indeed, and anything that I thought that I could apply for, I did. I got a couple of replies to come in for interviews, but then it was always met with, I need you here. If you leave, then I have to pay somebody else to come in and work, and it's more valuable for this company for you to be here working and getting a job. And so it was like, okay, and it would drop for a little bit, and then it would come right back up to where, like, I'm not actually physically bringing in any more money, and so all of the stress falls on him. And that went on for quite a while, and it was just kind of this revolving argument of me, telling him, like, fine, I'll go get another job, and like, no, you're more important and valuable here, and then back to, no, you're not bringing in any money, so it's just hurting us. It was a lose-lose.
But despite those arguments or tensions, did you and Ben still love each other?
Yes.
And I think you guys actually got married in 2014, right?
Yes. A lot of those tensions actually came after we got married.
Okay, thank you. So after you got married was when a lot of these tensions about money started to develop.
Yes.
Did you, after kind of these what you called revolving door arguments, did you eventually end up getting a job outside Renick Reptiles?
Yes. I finally got tired of it and being told that I wasn't contributing financially, so it didn't matter, but that I couldn't leave Renick Reptiles, and I contacted my old boss, and I just asked him if he was looking for a receptionist, and he was like, well, no, but I'll take you back as a massage therapist. And I was like, well, I don't think I have my license anymore. He said, do what you have to do to get it back, and you have a job here. And so I looked into it, and all I needed to do was catch up on some continuing education credits, and I did that, submitted that, got my license reinstated, and I went back to work at Riversong.
Okay. Did you enjoy working at Riversong?
I did.
Were you still working at Renick Reptiles, though?
I was, yes. So I guess throughout the rest of this kind of career path, I never really stopped working at Renick Reptiles. It just changed a little bit. And so when I first went back, since Ben still didn't want to hire anybody else to work, then I went back part-time at Riversong. But I wasn't making enough money to really make a difference in me being there. And so then I started picking up more like Friday and every other Saturday shifts, and eventually grew to where I, went back full time to Riversong, and then I would just go to work at Riversong during the day, and then in the evening after the kids were in bed, I would get caught up on everything that I needed to at Renick Reptiles.
All right.
It's been Ben. We're going to slip in a break. More live testimony when we return.
At what point?
Welcome back. Let's get you back into the courtroom. Lynlee Renick on the stand talking about her relationship with her husband, Ben.
My construction budget ran over $30,000, and I can't remember the term that it's called, but we took out a loan for this, and so there's something in there where the bank allows a certain amount for after you open to be able to pay employees and stuff before you're actually making an income, because nobody expects a new business to just open and then instantly be profitable. And so I can't remember the term of it, but whatever that was basically gone to my construction. And so we were starting out with no money right off the bat to help kind of buffer that period where a new business is not making any money.
And so how would, if you were out of money right at the beginning, how would you cover expenses that came up?
So Ben and I were personally putting in money. In the beginning, it would just be a couple of snake sales, and then that would cover it, and that was no big deal. It was just sell a couple snakes, it covers it, it's fine, let's move on.
But eventually you weren't able to keep up with the bills at all.
No.
People started suing you.
Yes.
All right. Was Ben supportive of the spa?
Yes and no. It was very back and forth. He offered a lot of help and offered to do a lot of things. And then when I would present him with those things or just ask him to come and help me with stuff, he didn't have the time for it, or it wasn't going to make money anyway. So it was more important for him to be cleaning snakes and taking care of that stuff, which I understand. Renick Reptiles was our sole, source of income. And so that's understandable, but it was very frustrating to be offered the help and given the encouragement, and then to just have it taken away time and time again.
And then, Your Honor, I'm going to display a series of Facebook messages if we can get this on.
Well, are they in?
Not yet, Your Honor. Would you like me to introduce them first?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So as early as March of 2017, were you and Ben talking about the possibility that the spa might have to close?
Yeah.
All right. Did you talk about that over social media?
I don't remember where we talked about it, but I mean, it was text message or some form of messaging, yeah.
I'm handing you this document. Can you take a look at that? And do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes.
And what is it?
Do you want me to read it?
No, but what does that document as a whole appear to be?
Oh, it's Facebook messaging back and forth between Ben and I.
And do you recognize those messages now that you've seen them?
Yes.
Do they appear to be fair and accurate messages, fair and accurate to the conversation that you had?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that back. Your Honor, I'm going to mark this as Defense Exhibit E, and I'd offer it into evidence.
Okay, any objection?
No, sir.
E be admitted. Okay, now you want to put it on that thing? Well, I don't know why it's not doing it. There we go.
There we go, okay.
You gotta focus.
Oh gosh, now I've got to focus it too. All right, Lynlee, do you have a screen up there?
It's very, very blurry, but
There
yes.
you go.
Oh, there.
All right. Can you read that can you take a look at that highlighted portion?
I can't really see it. It cuts off on my screen.
No, you get, yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right. Who sent that message?
I did.
And when did you send it?
It says March 27th of 2017.
And can you read this highlighted message?
Should we call it quits with the spa? I'm not angry or being sarcastic. I'm legitimately asking. I understand very much the reality of this, and honestly, I probably want to know what we need to do. I spelled it wrong.
That's all right. Thank you. So, as early as March of 2017, you and Ben were talking about whether or not to close the spa, right?
Yes.
Did these conversations about possibly closing the spa make you angry to the point where you thought it was necessary to kill your husband?
No.
Did you still love Ben even though you might have to close this spa that you had been dreaming of?
Yes, very much.
Tell the jury about where Essentia Spa was located.
So it's called the Village of Cherry Hill, and it's here in Columbia. It's just kind of a business district. It's got some condos and houses that are on the outside of it. It was, I think, built to be kind of like a walking kind of shopping district, but it has like a ton of health and wellness businesses. There was a dermatology clinic. We were right next to Mizzou Physical Therapy. There were dental offices above us, some like therapists and counselors above us, and then it was the same throughout the rest of the businesses. There was a chiropractor and just more kind of businesses like that. There was also like a place that you could rent out, like a kitchen, kind of a banquet hall that was there as well.
So it sounds like a fairly busy area.
Yeah.
All right. How many employees did the spa have?
I think at one point that just the highest number of employees that I had was probably like 10 or 15.
All right. How many people were inside the spa on any given day, including employees and customers?
I mean, if it was a slow day, it would just be employees, so probably at least 5 employees. If we were just waiting around for appointments, if we had appointments in, I mean, you could have 30 to 40 people in there, including employees.
Tell the jury who Ashley Shaw is.
So Ashley Shaw was the manager at the spa. I had met her when I went back to Riversong, and she was a front desk person there. She wasn't the manager, but she took care of a lot of their business stuff.
All right. You guys had worked together at Riversong, is that right?
Yes.
And you eventually hired her to be your office manager?
Yes, actually, before I had even opened the spa, when I was still kind of getting everything ready for it, I had kind of talked to her about it, and she was really encouraging. And she said that she would leave Riversong in a heartbeat to come work for me. So I was like, that's amazing, because she took care of the front desk and all of that stuff there. And I had never done that before. So that was something that she would be able to do just right away.
And so you did hire her?
Yes.
And you did kind of hand those responsibilities off to her right away?
Yes.
What was Ashley Shaw responsible for? What did she do for the spa?
So, as far as like front desk stuff, she took all the phone calls, booked appointments, checked people in and out. She would check them in when they came in and get them to where they needed to be. Then at the end of services, she would take payment, give them their receipts, did everything with the gift cards. She also kind of through the course of that took care of all of the like ordering and inventory. And then she started kind of taking over, helping with the books and the finances, because I was failing miserably at it. And that was something that she said that she felt confident and competent in, that she, knew QuickBooks and the Excel spreadsheets and stuff that we were using really well. So she took over all of that. She would do, cash drops for me, or if we needed cash for the register, then she would go and, break larger bills and get all of that. So quite a lot.
So it sounds to me like she quickly became not just like an office manager, but she was almost kind of running the business for you, wasn't she?
Yes.
Did she ever take over like hiring and firing people?
Yes.
Why is that? That's not typical office manager stuff.
So I had hired everybody initially, and I had a really hard time letting a couple of employees go. There was one girl who, we had a couple of complaints. She was a massage therapist, and we had a couple of complaints, and Ashley had come to me and let me know that I just needed to let her go. I tried to work, the girl was new and fresh out of school, and so I just wanted to work with her and felt like she just needed like to get more confidence, or maybe I could train her in some stuff with more techniques. And so I tried doing that, and then she ended up hurting an employee, not an employee, she ended up hurting a client, and Ashley was like, okay, Lynlee, like really, she's gotta go, you can't train this out anymore. And it was rough. So then Ashley and another girl that actually worked for me named Kayla decided like they would just handle the hiring and firing from then on out. Kayla was another woman that she helped with front desk responsibilities. She was a woman that I met at Riversong as well. And so, you know, they were comfortable in those roles. Kayla had done hiring and firing at another job previously. So she was like, I can be hard when I need to be.
So I'm not
All
trying
right, we
to.
need a quick break here. Lynlee Renick talking about the spa, talking about Ashley Shaw, but hasn't talked about the murder.
And
Be
I'm
right back.
grateful for that.
Welcome back. Let's get you back into the courtroom in Missouri. Lynlee Renick on the stand talking about her spa business and the marriage that was starting to crumble between her and her husband, Ben.
Not the same as spending quality time together.
No.
Did you and Ben start fighting pretty regularly?
Yes.
Would you fight over text message, Facebook Messenger, social media?
Yes.
Would those fights kind of continue during the day while you were at the spa?
Yes.
Did you tell anybody that you and Ben were having these problems in your marriage?
Yes, I confided in Ashley a lot, and honestly, she could tell, you know, Ashley and I were, you know, the same thing. We were working together and around each other, and, you know, had known each other, become friendly. Like, she knew when I was upset about something just by my demeanor, and so we just kind of, and I knew when she was upset about something, and so we would vent to each other, and yeah.
So you were telling Ashley about the problems in your marriage with Ben?
Yes.
And she obviously knew about the financial problems the spa was having?
Yes.
Did you start leaving your phone at the front desk with Ashley sometimes when you and Ben were fighting?
Yeah, and that, I mean, I kind of always left my phone at the front, and it was there and available. So it's not like I just like, Ben and I were fighting and I left it with Ashley.
Why did you always leave your phone at the front desk?
I mean, I was in and out of massages in the room all day, so, you know, when you come out of a massage, and I would go up to the front to let Ashley or whoever was up front know that, you know, my client was done, or if I had discounted or added anything to the service, so it was just convenient to have it right there where I was already going, check it really quickly, and then get back to it.
Okay, so when you went into the spa, leaving your phone at the front desk was a regular, everyday habit for you?
Yeah.
Did Ashley ever start answering your phone for you?
Yeah.
Why?
So she, like, I would keep my Facebook pulled up on the computer, and that we had, you know, an Essentia Spa Facebook page, and so, like, it was attached and set up with my personal account, so it was easy for her to toggle over to the business page if there was anything that I wanted her to post or respond to messages and stuff. And so, you know, she was taking care of a lot of that, you know, write down if there was anything that specifically I wanted posted for the day, so she could take care of that. And then, like, with our marketing, our radio advertisements, or anybody that really reached out, they would do it through, like, the Essentia Spa Facebook or the Instagram, the business accounts. And so Ashley would answer those and reply to those. And then also, you know, with my phone, you know, after we made connections with those people, and then I would give them my number to contact to do further planning, then, you know, Ashley would, you know, take care of those. If I got a message while I was in an appointment, then she would answer it. But it all just kind of started with, you know, this is just business stuff, and Ashley, knew how, what we were planning to do and all of these things. Sometimes, like, she had actually made the initial contact and set up these events, so she, had more information off the bat than I did, and so it was just convenient for her to not have to wait until I got out of a room and then relay this information back and forth. She could just take care of it.
Now, you said it started with just business stuff.
Yeah.
Did Ashley ever start answering personal messages or texts for you?
Yes.
Why and how did that kind of start?
The main one that started it was Ben and I were having a pretty intense argument. I don't remember if it was Facebook or text message or whatever, but we were going back and forth pretty heavily, and I was getting really upset and just trying to, on a mission to prove my point through text messaging. And Ashley and I were standing outside smoking, and she was like, Lynlee, just like, you're not going to settle anything over this. Like, it's not going to handle it. Just, try to get it to like put a pause in it until you get done with the day. And so like, I tried to do that, and it wasn't happening. And so, I'm telling her, like, I said this and he said that, like, what do I say now? Because obviously that didn't work. And so she was telling me, like, well, try this approach. And I've been in that situation before where a friend's, upset and venting to me, and I'm like, well, like, calm down, let's try this. And so she was already in on this argument that Ben and I were having, and I had to go in and do a massage, and Ben was unrelenting that, like, I needed to answer and he needed to know, and and so she just took that over for me. She was already in on it and trying to help me, like, how do I phrase this to diffuse it, or like redirect this conversation in a healthy way. And yeah, I went in to do a massage, and she just kind of continued trying to, like, let's just talk about this later when I get home, like, defuse it.
And so that was the start of Ashley regularly kind of responding to Ben's messages for you.
Yeah.
Now,
And I wouldn't even say regularly, but it was just like, yes, it did happen. And
okay.
yeah.
Now, obviously, you've talked a lot about the problems in your marriage. Is that a yes? Sorry, the court.
I'm sorry, yes.
At some point, did you begin having extramarital affairs?
Yes.
Are you proud of that fact?
No.
Do you regret it?
Yes.
Tell the jury briefly about the first affair.
So the first affair that I had was with somebody that I knew from growing up. We had, had an on and off sexual relationship in the past, and we'd known each other growing up. We were friends outside of that, and both of us were married. Both of us had expressed the, things that were not so great in our marriages, and we made the decision to just hook up.
Did it happen more than once?
I don't believe so. Actually, the first time that I went over there, and fully well with the intention that I was going there and we were going to have sex, we didn't end up having sex at all. I think both of us were just kind of afraid of that first step of, like, actually really stepping out on our marriage. But then ultimately, I did end up going back there again, and we did.
What about the second affair?
That was with Eric Bremer, who was my marketing director through Zimmer. And so we had met through the spa.
What about the third affair?
The third affair was Brandon Blackwell, and I had met him on Ashley Madison just shortly before Ben was murdered.
What prompted you to get an Ashley Madison account?
That's kind of a long story, but I'll try to.
Well, whose idea was it?
So Ashley Shaw, is it okay if I?
Go ahead.
Okay. Eric Bremer and I had been having a pretty lengthy affair, and obviously with the business relationship that we had, having this affair, and then just kind of personal feelings towards each other, and confiding in each other, building, Ashley felt like Eric was really falling short on helping us with our marketing and our advertisement like we should. She had heard one of the radio advertisements that they had done for the spa, and it was, she said it was just really inappropriate, and so she played it for me and I listened to it, and I sent a message out to them, and I agreed with her. But it was things like that, like he wasn't sending us our advertisements to be checked, and I was letting it go and not really keeping up on that, and so that was frustrating for her. Eric had kind of gotten this stigma and acted towards us like we really wouldn't be successful and make it in Columbia without his connections and being able to help us, and that really rubbed Ashley the wrong way, because she had her own connections and she had done things to set us up. I had made a lot of connections for us in Columbia with different businesses and organizations, and so but with this kind of train wreck that's happening with, Ben and I arguing and my marriage going down the drain and the spa is just failing and I'm having this affair with this guy and, all of this is slacking. And at that time when I set it up, I had already kind of talked to Ashley about, wanting to separate and divorce. And so she thought that, it would be a good idea and we both set up Ashley Madison accounts. I don't think she ever did anything with hers, but we set them up together, and she thought it would be a good distraction for me to just get my mind off of this Ben Eric business saga that's going on. So set it up, and that's where I met Brandon.
Now,
Lynlee Renick talking about her 3 affairs that she was having right before Ben, her husband, was killed. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Stop there. Welcome back to Court TV Live. Glad to have you along with us on this busy Wednesday. Let's get you back to Missouri. Lynlee Renick now detailing her relationship, and it was the crumbling relationship between her and her husband, Ben, shortly before his murder.
Ben and I think we had started texting about it because he was mad that I just left and didn't say anything. And I was it hit me in such a hard way because, the foundation of Ben and I's relationship and what I really loved about him in the beginning was that I felt like I wasn't just a body to him. And I thought that, we didn't have a wild sexual relationship. We didn't have, intercourse a lot, but I thought that it was healthy, and that just put me right back to this place of feeling like I was just there for him to have sex with. And yeah.
did you and Ben ever talk about what had happened?
Yes.
Did you talk about it over Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what I've marked as Defense Exhibit F. Can you take a look at that? I think it's 2 or 3 pages.
All of it?
Just glance through it. You don't have to read all of it. I guess I should say, do you recognize this?
Yes.
Are these Facebook conversations that you and Ben had?
Yes.
Do they appear to be fair and accurate depictions of those conversations?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that back. Your Honor, I'd offer Defense Exhibit F into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
F be admitted.
All right. Permission to publish to the jury.
Get this rigged up here.
All right. So Lynlee, if you can take a look where I've drawn that arrow. What's the date on this message?
May 17th, 2017.
And who sent the message?
Ben.
All right. And is this during a fight you were having about one of that incident?
Yes.
And can you read the highlighted portion of Ben's message?
I'm sorry those nights happened. They shouldn't have. Never will again. I wasn't mad at you for not having sex with me, but it doesn't matter because I made you feel that way. I'm sorry.
Now, I think the prosecution has alluded to maybe these nights never happened. Maybe your making up these allegations now that your husband is dead. Did those nights happen?
Yes.
And I think you told the jury earlier, you told Ashley Shaw about all these problems, right?
Yes.
And I apologize, I'm gonna go back to Exhibit F. What was your suggestion to Ben when you were having all of these fights and marital difficulties?
I wanted to go to therapy.
And can you take a look, who's the author of this highlighted message?
Me.
And what's the date on that?
May 17th.
So it's during that same conversation we were looking at earlier.
Yes.
And can you read that message, please?
This isn't a resolution through text message. I want to go to therapy.
Thank you. Was there ever any other occasion where an argument with Ben turned physical?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury briefly about that incident?
The other sexual incidences, or
Well, I guess, did these instances of Ben touching you or having sex with you without your consent while you were sleeping, did it happen more than once?
yes.
Was there ever an incident while you were awake, not necessarily sexual, that turned physical?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury briefly about that incident?
Ben and I had been arguing at the house. Our house was kind of an open floor plan, so when you walk in, it's living room, dining room, kitchen, it's all right there. And we were kind of back in the kitchen area arguing. He was upset about an argument that, or I guess not an argument, but some stuff that was going on between he and Sam, and then Robin not paying, and then also finding out that I had started smoking again. And Maddie and Emma were sitting on the couch watching TV, and our voices started to raise a little bit more just from arguing about it. And so I told him I just wanted to talk about it later after the kids were in bed, and I went to walk away. And he grabbed my arm and pushed me into the refrigerator and was like, "I'm not done with this. We're gonna finish it now." And then I believe, the TV or Maddie or Emma, just some sort of sound. And I think that, Ben realized, like, okay, the kids are right there. Let my arm go. And I just went and I sat on the couch with him for the rest of the evening.
Lynlee, throughout everything, you and Ben still loved each other deeply, didn't you?
Yes.
But can you pinpoint a specific moment when you knew your marriage was over?
Outside of everything else that we were arguing over, Ben started getting really upset about all of the time that I was focusing on and paying attention to Matthew and Amelia when I would get home from work instead of dedicating it to him and Renick Reptiles. And that's not up for question for me, and that's not up for debate. And so when he started telling me that they would be fine, and it would be okay if, we were at the facility and working and I wasn't, I didn't just instantly get home and rush to them, like it wasn't going to damage them. And once he started kind of trying to drive that wedge and bringing in that, like, it was wrong of me to want to spend time with them or see them over him, I don't know that that's necessarily the right way that it should be in a marriage. But I already had Matthew when Ben and I got together, and I made it abundantly clear to him that Matthew came before everything in my life. And then when Amelia was born, that's no different. And I will always focus on them above anybody else. And so that was just kind of, I don't know, the icing on the cake for all of the other things that were fundamentally wrong. It's like, now it's wrong and you want me to choose you over Maddie and Emma, and I can't do that.
And did Ben ever say anything explicitly, kind of expressing this sentiment that he wanted you to choose him over the kids?
I don't remember. I mean, other than what I just said, he just made it, I came home one day and we were, again arguing, and he was talking about how he just was frustrated that I was always like, I would come home and then I was just, snuggled up with Maddie and Emma, and, when we were eating dinner, just like talking about them or letting them sit on my lap, and instead of really being focused on Renick reptiles and helping him with those questions. So.
Okay. Now, what time of year would you say this is happening?
I don't know, the beginning, spring of 2017.
Is this about when you started to think that you maybe needed to divorce Ben?
Yeah, there was already so much that was going wrong, but that was really kind of when I checked out. Yeah.
Did you discuss divorce with anyone?
Yes.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Ashley about it and another friend of mine.
Did you ever talk with Ashley about divorce at the spa?
Yeah.
Now, I want to be clear for the jury. When you realized your marriage to Ben was over, were you and Ashley sitting at the front desk of the spa in front of 5 to 30 other people chatting about how you wanted Ben dead?
No.
What were you telling Ashley?
I was just talking to her, and we were both conversing back and forth about like, this is a disaster and I don't know if there's any recovering from this and coming back, and I'm checked out. I can't even bring myself to pretend to engage and be interested in these conversations and what's going on anymore. Like, I'm not here in this marriage anymore.
So you were talking about divorce?
Yes.
Now, the jury's heard a lot about an attempted poisoning incident. I'd like to ask you a couple questions and try to clear that up. Is that all right? Did you or Ashley Shaw ever try to poison Ben?
No.
Was there an incident with a protein shake?
Yes.
All right. Tell the jury what actually happened.
A lady, we get people that bring in stuff for us to try all the time, whether it's, health food products or just spa and wellness products. It's pretty common for us to get energy drinks, protein shakes or protein bars, the Thrive stuff, that's a common one.
And sorry to interrupt you, but is that because the people that are offering them are hoping that you might pick up the product and sell them at the spa?
Yeah, so we sold retail, and any products that we used in services we would sell up at the front. And so there were people coming in all of the time wanting us to either become distributors for them or to put their products up for sale in the front. And so one of the clients that had been in one day had left some samples of some, protein drinks that she had for, I don't know if it was an MLM, but a company that she had. And so we just all took a couple and tried them.
Did you try the protein shake?
Yes.
Did you get sick?
Yes.
How sick?
I was violently ill. Ben was in our bathroom next to our bedroom the whole night, and we had another bathroom on the opposite side of the house, in between, and so I was in that bathroom posted up all night.
So just to be clear, you and Ashley never came up with a devious plan to grind Percocet pills up and slip them in a protein shake?
No.
Now, I want to get into when you started formulating or thinking about how you were going to confront Ben about a divorce, all right? Did you eventually decide, I need to get out of this marriage, I need to talk to Ben about divorce, or maybe just a trial separation?
Yes.
Did you talk about this with Ashley Shaw?
Yes.
And what did Ashley say?
So at that time when, we're talking about this very seriously, all of these other incidences had already happened, and Ben was just kind of escalating to being more and more controlling. And so Ashley's concern was that, one, that I would just never go through with it, that I wouldn't, confront him, and I would just, she said, you're not Like, you're not gonna do it. I know what's gonna happen. The spa's gonna close. You're gonna go back to work at Renick Reptiles with Ben and just be under his thumb again. And then you're never going to leave, and you are going to be stuck in that marriage forever. And I mean, she was definitely right. Like, yeah. Anyway, so she, then obviously after I came into work and she had, seen bruises on my arm from where Ben had grabbed me, and like, I bruise really easily. So, it is what it is. But she was concerned that since Ben was getting so much more aggressive, that if I went by myself and Ben just flipped out, that I would get hurt, and she didn't want me to go alone.
Did she offer to go with you?
She did.
Did that not work out?
So she had been talking to, I don't even know if they were dating, but her son's father at the time. And she had been talking to him about, Ben and I and our relationship. And so she told me that Elle, is what she called him. Elle told her that if she went with me and Ben got ignorant, that he would, do I cuss her? The father of her son didn't like the idea of Ashley going with you. No.
Okay, so that was out. You couldn't take Ashley with you.
No.
Why not take your dad?
I didn't even want my dad to know what was going on. I'm okay. My mom and my dad getting divorced crushed my dad. And it was just, I'm so sorry.
We can take a minute if you need to.
Nope, I'm okay. I know where my dad stands morally on affairs and divorce, and I just wasn't ready to face him with letting him know everything that was going on.
You were ashamed.
I was very ashamed.
Okay, so you couldn't take Ashley and you couldn't take your dad. Why not ask Sam to go with you, or someone
Sam's Ben's brother.
You didn't think that would go well?
No, and at that time, Sam and Allie and Ben and I, there was a lot of conflict.
Why not take someone from the reptile community that knew you and Ben both? Why not take a mutual friend?
I mean, I wouldn't want anybody these are people that I know in an industry through working with Ben, and people in the reptile industry are, I don't know, it's just not a conversation that I would want to have with somebody that I knew through my husband. Like, I don't know, I don't think that's inappropriate. It would have never crossed my mind to go and approach somebody, just like message somebody on Facebook, hey, I know I don't know you that well, but here's all this stuff, will you go with me?
So at some point, did Michael Humphrey's name come up?
Yes.
And how did his name come up?
So, Ashley was just like, we're talking about like, basically how I don't really have anybody in my life except unless it's through Ben, or like people that I would be too ashamed to let know what's going on. And so then ex-boyfriends come up, and like Matthew's dad, I haven't talked to or heard from, know anything about even where he's at, but so then the only other person was like Michael, and Ashley had heard about Michael just by way of like River Song, and when I had worked at River Song the first time, Michael and I were dating, and so she looked him up on CaseNet and like found out he was in Jeff City area. And Michael was somebody that, yes, I had dated in the past and had a relationship with. It had been an incredibly long time since I had seen him, but it was somebody that I knew enough that he would go with me, but I wouldn't have to, I wouldn't feel any of the shame or attachment of telling this person like, hey, my marriage is falling apart, will you please just go with me just to make sure like, I'm safe and I can get some stuff and go. Like, there would be no commitment to any of that to him.
Well, and after that conversation with Ben, you wouldn't necessarily ever have to see him again.
Yeah.
Now, Lynlee, as you sit here today, do you regret asking Michael Humphrey to come with you when you were going to talk to Ben about a divorce?
Yes.
And why, I know you've already explained it, but I know the jury's wondering, why would you take an ex-boyfriend with you to have this difficult conversation?
I mean, Ben didn't know he was an ex-boyfriend, and it had been so long since I had seen him or we had been together. It wasn't like we still had an emotional relationship or any sort of physical relationship.
He was just a guy that you knew and Ben didn't, that could be there to make sure things didn't get out of hand.
Yes.
Do you think if you had gone alone, you would have been able to tell Ben, get the words out, I want a divorce?
Probably not.
And you couldn't take Ashley.
No.
You didn't want to ask your dad.
No.
And you didn't have any other friends that you didn't know through Ben.
Yeah.
I think you said Ashley had looked Michael up on CaseNet.
Yes.
Did you and Ashley ever attempt to contact Michael?
Yes.
All right, what happened?
So she found his address through CaseNet, and then we just drove down. It was like a trailer park or something. And drove down through it and didn't really see anything or anybody. Couldn't recognize any numbers or anything, and so then I was like, well, he worked at Best Buy when we were together, and so we decided to head into Jeff City, work at Best Buy, and Ashley's like, what are we gonna say when we get there? I was like, well, he used to hook up audio equipment, and she was like, oh, Elle just had gotten her some audio equipment that had.
Lynlee Renick talking about the interaction with Michael Humphrey. When we come back, she'll be talking likely about the day of Ben Renick's murder. Be right back after this. Back to court we go. Lynlee Renick on the stand talking about her talking to Michael Humphreys days before Ben Renick's murder.
Now, during that conversation where you and Ashley and Michael were talking in his trailer, at any point did you say that you wanted Ben dead?
No.
Did you ask Michael to help you kill your husband?
No.
Did you give Michael your phone number?
Yes.
And did Michael give you his?
Yes.
And what did you put him in your phone as? What was his contact name?
I think just his name.
You didn't try to hide or disguise who he was?
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions now about the day that Michael shot Ben. What day was that?
June 8th, 2017.
Do you remember what day of the week it was?
No, not off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Did it start off like a normal day?
Yes.
What did you do?
I woke up, took the kids to school, and then headed to the spa to meet Ashley and Rachel there to do opening, and we had been trying to we had been on this healthy kick, so trying to get in shape before the spa opened, so yeah.
Were you and Ben texting throughout the day?
Yes.
All right. Did you talk about the spa and whether Ben was going to close the spa?
I believe so.
Right. No, Your Honor, I have a message that I believe is already in evidence. This is just my copy of it. It was introduced by the state.
Well,
Judge, I don't.
you know what number it is for the state?
That's what it's being assigned.
Huh?
Judge, she can put it in evidence.
Well, I just want to know what it is.
It's a Facebook message.
Well, no, what that and what number is it if it's already in evidence?
Lawful, I think is what he said. You remember.
Okay, well, do you have, it's been entered by the state. Do you happen to remember which one?
You don't know the number?
I don't.
Is it from the day of the murder?
Yes.
That would be State's Exhibit 85.
Okay, let me
85 is.
85's in, and you think that's one of the things in 85?
99 is the base.
From the day of birth.
I mean, we could just have her offer it.
I'll just offer it. Lynlee,
All right, and is that gonna be,
Judge State's Exhibit 85 is the PowerPoint from the murder.
and that's part of it?
I believe so. I don't have any objection.
Let's just mark it.
You know what? That's
It's gonna
fine.
It's gonna be G.
I'm gonna mark
right?
it, yeah, State's, Defense Exhibit G.
All right, that's fine, and no objection.
Correct.
G's admitted. What is it, what are you calling that more?
Defense Exhibit G?
I know, but is it Facebook stuff?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
And Lynlee, I want you to take a look at the highlighted message. Who sent that message?
Ben,
And what day did he send it?
June 8th.
And that was the day he died, right?
Yes.
And can you read that first highlighted line of the message?
Chuck wants to give it 3 more months at the spa to see where we are.
So to be clear, the day that the state is saying you killed your husband in order to keep your spa open, Ben was agreeing to keep the spa open for 3 more months.
Yes.
I want to talk about another financial matter between you and Ben. And you have any more to say?
Miss Burns, are you gonna be quiet a while longer? Are you gonna be quiet a while longer?
If you'd like to.
Let's do that. They've been in here 2 hours. Let's take a break right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our morning recess. I'm going to read you this again. Just stay there a minute. The court again reminds you what you were told at the first recess of the court until you
All
retire.
right, they're taking a break in Missouri. We're going to take a break as well. Oof, lots to talk about when we come back. Lynlee Renick on the stand on her own behalf. Be back after this.